Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video, and this is the final playoff build for the Indiana Pacers, as we have obviously the starting center from the Indiana Pacers, Myles Turner. Yes, indeed, we got Myles Turner here, the pro-tuned build. As I mentioned before, after we did the Obi Toppin build, that the only two that we had left were practically the Tyrese Halliburton and the Myles Turner Pro Tunes. So there we have it. Then after this, we'll be switching over in, spoiler alert, we are going to be doing OKC just to give us the finals matchup, and then we'll probably move on to some of the other runner-ups. So probably doing the Knicks, and then also doing the Timberwolves probably, and also like the Nuggets after that. So just going on over to those two probably after doing New York. So that's kind of like the idea that I'm like trying to get here is the Pacers. Obviously they're my team, then OKC, then we're gonna go back to New York, and then back over to two Western Conference teams, and then we'll just kind of see how quickly we can kind of get through all these builds, because obviously there is not a whole lot of time left in the game. Obviously it's now in the middle of June. So yeah, man, we are getting closer and closer to 2K26. So we should start getting information for 2K26 here roughly in about 2 months. So that's going to be awesome. So anyway, we got the Arc Inker Pro Tune build for Myles Turner. Let's go ahead. Let's check out all the stats and everything. See if they are necessarily realistic. They should be though. We'll see. But for our finishing stats, we do have an 84 close shot. We have a 70 driving layup, a 73 driving dunk, an 81 standing dunk, and a 79 post control. And to me, like right out of the gate, I will say this is kind of accurate. 100%, I will say that, because for the most part, he's not going to be like an insane finisher. So having like low to like middle of the road stats kind of makes sense. He's not doing a lot of driving layups. He can get some like pretty good driving dunks and get some posters in there, but he doesn't do it all the time. And then, when it comes to standing dunks as well, it's not like he's doing a ton of standing dunks either, but he does do them. Obviously, if he's underneath the basket and has the space. So that's pretty much about it. And it's not like he's really insane with his post control ability. I mean, obviously, when you had Myles Turner and Domantas Sabonis, it was quite obvious which one of those two were the better post scorer, and that was Domas. So here, obviously having a 79 post control, which is good enough for post fade phenom, is fine, which, is whatever. But I don't really think it's 100% necessary for post fade phenom, because he doesn't really post fade like that. But in the sense of 2K, it's fine. It's whatever. But 84 close shot. We had Paint Prodigy on silver. That's practically like the main concern here, is having Paint Prodigy here as a big man, because we're going to be underneath the basket more times than the other players or the other positions. Really, float game on silver, silver hook specialist, that's all fine. Obviously you can get some of these upgraded. You can't really get Paint Prodigy upgraded, but ultimately you can get float game and hook specialist upgraded if you use the proper caps for them. So that'll be fine. The driving layup being a 70, it's good enough for us to get physical finisher on bronze. Like we said, it's not like he's doing too much of like the driving stuff. I mean, he can drive, especially off like pick and rolls and everything like that, but it's not like he does insane like contact layups or any insane layups in general. I mean, we do not get layup mix master here, so it makes sense. But physical finisher on bronze definitely does make a little bit of sense here. We have aerial wizard on silver, and then we also have float game on silver as well. So you do have that stuff there, which is pretty solid. Ultimately, you cannot get the physical finisher badge upgraded. You can get float game upgraded though, like we mentioned with close shot. That's the only way that you can get upgraded. And then here, ultimately you can get aerial wizard upgraded, but not by driving layup and not by driving dunk either. It's by your standing dunk, which we'll actually mention that again when we get to standing dunk. Because obviously in our driving dunk, we do have the 73, which is pretty solid. We cannot get posterizer on silver, which is unfortunate, but we do obviously get our driving dunk high enough for the bronze poster, get some pretty decent animations. You know, if we get into the lane and then we get like a little contact by like a small guy, then we can at least hit those dunks pretty easily. So the standing dunk, though, as I mentioned, we can get Aerial Wizard upgraded by using caps here, but we also get Silver Rise Up, which we cannot get upgraded. So having Rise Up on Silver is you know, middle of the ground, middle of the pack, pretty much for bigs. So yeah, Rise Up on Silver, it's whatever. You cannot get it upgraded though, which is unfortunate. And it does make sense a little bit for Myles Turner, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, so it does make sense. It'd probably be a little bit better if you were able to get it somewhat higher, but with all of the stats and everything, it kind of is hard to, because you're focusing more on this build being able to shoot threes and defend the paint and grab rebounds more so than just scoring on the inside. You're kind of wanting to be that interior defensive threat while not necessarily being too much of an interior offensive threat, but you are a threat in terms of spacing. And that's kind of what the Pacers are all about here, is their incredible spacing ability. So 81 standing dunk, that's fine. 79 post control. We do have gold post fade phenom here, which is pretty solid. We also had post powerhouse on silver, post up poet on silver. We have bronze unpluckable, which is, you know, pretty solid. And then we have silver hook specialist. Now, obviously, as you can see here, we get a 90 mid-range. So ultimately, what that means is that we can get Hall of Fame post fade phenom if we used all 5 caps on our post control and 1 cap on the mid-range. So we can get that if we really wanted to. So there's that. Post powerhouse, we cannot get upgraded at all. And post up poet, we cannot get upgraded either. But unpluckable, obviously, is another one that, you know, we would kind of like to try to get upgraded, but unfortunately we can't. And then hook specialist is one that we can. So really, the only 2 that we can get upgraded, for the most part, is post fade phenom and hook specialist. Those are like the only 2 that we can get upgraded. For our shooting, though, we do have an 89 mid-range, which, you know, the mid-range gives us majority of our badges here, because obviously the one badge that we do get from 3-point rating is limitless range, which is bronze. That's all that we get from having the 3-pointer specifically. So we might as well just talk about the other badges that we get as well, because we do have the post fade phenom, as I mentioned, which is, you know, only mid-range. So we do have the gold post fade phenom, and as we mentioned, we do get a 90 3-point rating, or not 3-point rating, a mid-range shot instead of like a 3-point rating like we usually would on some of the other builds. So mid-range here, super high. We can get it to a 90, so we can get post fade phenom upgraded, but we don't really get anything else upgraded. Set shot specialist still stays on gold. Deadeye still stays on silver. We don't get shifty shooter. We don't get mini marksman, obviously. So these are the only 3 badges that we get, and we don't really get any upgrades for anything besides post fade. And that's really if you wanted to utilize those caps, particularly at least 5 of them in post control, which I don't really think is 100% necessary. As I mentioned, we had the 83 3-point rating for limitless range, which is pretty good, pretty damn solid, be able to stretch the floor out pretty effectively. 74 free throw makes a lot of sense to me, but you know, it's whatever, it's a free throw. And then 78 pass accuracy is pretty solid for what it is, considering that they did give us those 3 extra points on top of the 75 that we usually would be able to get for break starter on silver, just for the sake of us getting versatile visionary. I don't think it's 100% necessary to have the 78 for versatile visionary, especially as a big man, especially for somebody like Myles Turner. But we definitely do get versatile visionary on bronze. We get break starter on silver, and then we also get dimer on silver. Now, we can get a badge upgraded here, and it's dimer. The only thing that we can get upgraded is dimer. We cannot get break starter upgraded. We cannot get versatile visionary upgraded, and we cannot get bailout. But we can use 4 cap breakers and get to an 82 pass accuracy to get gold dimer, which would help tremendously a lot, you know, for the team. So that's if you really wanted to do that. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because that's like 4 caps that you would use there. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but if you want to, you can. Now, when it comes to the defensive stuff here, we have an 88 interior defense. We have a low perimeter defense, but we do have a 60 steal rating. I like it. And then a 93 block rating. And then we also have our rebounding here, 69 offense, nice. And then a 94 defensive. So the 88 interior defense is practically what you need for that post lockdown badge on gold. So that's practically the reason why we have that. Ultimately, we can use 5 caps here on interior defense to practically get the 93 interior that we need for post lockdown on Hall of Fame, which would be pretty solid if you guys really wanted to. We also have that paint patroller badge, so we are ready and locked and loaded, ready to go to get the Hall of Fame upgrade for paint patroller if we use caps on block rating. And an off-ball pest, obviously we need a 94, which we're not going to be able to get, and we're not able to get the 87 perimeter for it. So off-ball pest here is the only one that we cannot get upgraded. Ultimately, post-lockdown, like I mentioned, you need all 5 caps here, and then you need the 1 cap in strength, get post-lockdown upgraded, and then you need the 4 caps in block just to get that to get paint patroller upgraded. Nothing for perimeter defense, but steal rating, we're not going to get anything upgraded here, but we do have the 64 interceptor, which is good enough because at least we can get into those passing lanes. If we can just get into those passing lanes pretty effectively, then that is, pretty nice. The block rating, like I mentioned, we have gold paint patroller. We can use some caps here, use 4 caps, because as you can see, we can get up to a 98. So that would be all 5 caps if you really wanted to do it that way. But ultimately, you only really need the 4 paint patroller to get that on Hall of Fame, get to the 97. And then we have pogo stick, which we're not really able to get upgraded at all because we are not able to get the 83 vertical because you would need 6 caps and we are only able to max out at 5 caps per stat. So unfortunately, even though we can get the block rating for it, we cannot get the vertical, so that's very unfortunate. And in high flying denier, we would need the speed and the vertical, which ultimately we can indeed get if we use 1 cap breaker in speed and 3 cap breakers on vertical, which is pretty good. And that's also another reason why I mentioned not really using cap breakers or post control in the mid range, or even using the cap breakers for pass accuracy, is for this reason right here, because a lot of the times it's like you're going to be able to utilize a lot more elsewhere. So it's like here, you're going to be able to utilize 4 cap breakers or high flying denier on gold, which would be pretty good. And then ultimately, you will need to use another 4. So that would be 8 if you want to get paint patroller on Hall of Fame. And then you can use another set of 5 here, which that would be 13 total cap breakers in total at that point to get the interior defense, and then you would need the extra 1 on strength, which would be 14 total cap breakers. So you have a lot of cap breaker potential here, but it does take up a lot, which means that if you are not veteran 2 at this point, then you would have to kind of just pick and choose which ones to utilize and what badges to go for first. So it's like ultimately, I think the ones that I would probably go for the most is paint patroller out of the gate, and then also making sure that the post lockdown is also upgraded, making sure that I can get my interior defense as good as possible, because the odds of me being able to utilize high flying denier out of the gate as effectively on gold, even though it would be pretty solid on gold, is not going to be too crazy. It's literally not going to be over the top or insane to use it on gold rather than silver. We still get on silver at least, but then you can also like at least start making your way towards getting it by getting the vertical or getting the speed upgrade, or whichever one you prefer first. Rebounding, though, we do have a 69 offensive rebound, so it doesn't really give us anything here, but we do have the 94 defensive rebound, which we do have the ability to have Hall of Fame box out beast, which is pretty solid. We also have pogo stick on gold, and then we also have rebound chaser on gold. So we're not really able to get anything upgraded here because, as you can see, we can't get the vertical at all for pogo stick, and then we cannot even get any more of rebounding. So that's the only reason why we cannot get box out beast, because even though Ultimately, we can get to a 95 strength, even though it's not like a 96. Even if we were able to get to the 96 strength for Box Out Beast, we just cannot get the rebounding for it. So there's no point in really talking about that. And then the rebound chaser, obviously you need a 96. We're maxed out at the 94. So there's really nothing that we can do here in terms of like using caps on rebounding. Obviously it's maxed out and there's really nothing else to utilize to get these badges upgraded. Now for our physicals though, we do have the 65 speed, 55 agility. We don't get slippery off ball, and we have high flying denier on silver. And then we have literally nothing here because it's like we are a 7-footer. Yeah, we get nothing for agility. Strength though, however, we have a 91 strength. We do have Hall of Fame Box Out Beast, and as you can see, we got the gold brick wall here. In the gold brick wall, pretty solid. If you wanted to use all 4 cap rigs, get to 95, you can get Hall of Fame brick wall, and then get legend if you use the max +1 on it. I don't think that's a smart idea, but obviously the options are there for the people that are like veteran 2 and everything like that, and they have like the extra caps. Why not? Why not? But you know, brick wall on default right here is gold because of our 91 strength. We have physical finisher on bronze, which cannot be upgraded. Post lockdown obviously is on gold, which can be upgraded, and then post powerhouse is on silver and cannot be upgraded. Same with the move born force, so we can't get it. And then strong handle, we don't get it all. So Box Out Beast cannot be upgraded. Brick wall can if you really wanted to. Physical finisher cannot. Post lock can, and then post powerhouse cannot. So practically the 2 gold badges are the only ones that can be upgraded if you so choose to, which I probably would choose to get post lockdown upgraded just in general. I just feel like that would just be the best option. And then vertical beacon 77, gold pogo stick cannot get upgraded. Rise up on silver cannot be upgraded. Silver aerial wizard can be upgraded. We just need the standing dunk for it. Silver high flying denier can be upgraded, and then posterizer cannot. So the only 2 that can be upgraded here is silver high flying denier, silver aerial wizard. So that's another option to go for if you really wanted to. Use 3 caps on standing dunk to get aerial wizard on gold. That's up to you guys though. And that's why I just say, if you want to, I don't personally feel like that's a good idea. I would just stick with, you know, my idea of the interior defense, the block, the strength, just to get that upgraded as well. Because obviously post lock, you need just 1 cap breaker here. You know, everywhere else. So I just kind of feel like this is like the better idea, is just to go for everything else here instead of like the finishing, because you're going to be spacing the floor out more than anything, and then playing defense. But yeah, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the build though. If we take a look at the shades up, we do have Myles Turner, Jack Sigma, and Nikola Vucevic as well. So I mean, it definitely makes sense. I don't think that the blocking makes sense with Vooch, but Jack Sigma definitely is up there on that list though. And as you can see, all the animations you get: Myles Turner, Draymond, Pascal, go to the Giannis pull up, Pascal, Vooch, Myles Turner on here, and then you get basic everything over here. It's whatever. But yeah, you can ultimately still get like Paulo or Ant or De'Aaron Fox if you want, or even Domas if you so choose. I personally definitely do like Paulo's pass style. It's been one of my favorite pass styles this year. It's Paulo, so there's that. So anyway, that's it about this one here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's going to be it for me for the Pacer builds, man. We're going to move on to OKC as the next series goes on. We're going to start with, you know, I'm not going to say which one we're going to start with, because obviously I can't go anywhere like I started with Andrew Nembhard. I started with the shooting guard for the Pacers, and then I went to Neesmith, and then Obi, and then I went back to the point guard in a center. But who knows what's going to happen? Obviously, you guys will probably know where I'm going to start and where I'm probably going to end based on the Pro Tunes that are available. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below of, you know, these Pacer builds. Did you guys enjoy them? Do you guys think that they're pretty solid? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for the OKC builds. And that's going to be it for me. I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everybody.